In working through a process of budgeting and getting out of debt, something that worked for me, I was listening to a lot of books and reading a lot of different blog posts on the process and what other people suggested. And in my search, I came across a book called I'll Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Sure, by Ramit. So in this book, he talks about a lot of things, but one concept that really stuck out to me that made a ton of sense was his concept of conscious spending. Now, this conscious spending is the active thought of saying yes to some things and no to others. And so, to illustrate this, he talks about some of his different friends and their interest in how they prefer to spend their money. For example, some liked having a new car, and so putting money, towards a new car, whether it's a lease payment or whatever, was a thing, right? And so they always had a new car. Some liked to eat out all the time. They didn't like to cook their own food, so they had a high restaurant budget. Okay, or new shoes. They love shoes, so they're always buying shoes. And his point was that's okay if those are the things you like, right? Give it the money it needs to be happy, to have the things that you enjoy. And I was like, yes, please. I want to have the things that I enjoy, that I want to have. But then on the flip side, he said, but then you have to actively say no to the things that aren't as important, right? So just as much as you want to spend money on new shoes, you have to just as much not spend money on something else so that you have money for shoes. I was like, okay. And so to maybe the way this started to make sense in my own mind, okay, is eating out and buying groceries, right? If I was going to eat out more, then I most certainly did not need to spend money on groceries. Okay, that's an active thought process, is an active decision. The more I eat out, the less I buy groceries. Okay? Conscious spending, right? If I want to buy an Apple Watch, a new iPhone, or whatever, right? Any kind of shopping I want to do, if I really want something, I have to be able to say, no, I cannot buy this other thing till next month or whatever. Okay? It's conscious spending. Like, buy the things you want to buy, but you're going to have to say no somewhere along the way. Okay? Now, conscious spending is great. I think it's a great concept to help us stay within our budget, within our income level, right? So we're not overspending, not living beyond our means, right? But can you still get out of debt with conscious spending? I think so, yes. And I did it, right? I was very conscious about the things that I bought, but I was also very conscious about where I could save money, right? If I wanted to buy something extra and needed a lot of extra money for it, aka Apple products, okay, then I had to find a stream of cash to make that possible, or create a savings plan that was sufficient enough that I could save that money up until I had what I needed to buy what I wanted. Okay. Of course, you're going to have to make the active decision again whether or not that extra money you're saving for something special goes to something special or your debt. There's a trade-off, right? And only you can decide that. All right? For me, there are most certainly things that I bought that could have been money for sure that could have gone to my debt. Pay off my student loans so much faster. But I wanted to live a little. I wanted to feel like I wasn't a slave to my loans any more than I was. And so I took a couple cruises. I traveled just a little, right? I bought an Apple Watch. Okay. Like, I spent a tiny bit of money, but that's pretty much where I drew the line. I drew the line and said, I will do these things, but beyond that, I'm going to have to say no. And if I can't quite say no, then let's find an alternative so that it's either more affordable or free. Simple as that. So, conscious spending. If you haven't heard of it, I encourage you to pick up Ramit's book, I Will Teach You How to Be Rich, and hear what he has to really say about that. If you have heard of this, but you've been unsure about it for whatever reason, definitely take another look, because I think it could truly transform the way you approach your budget and how you allocate your money based on your interests, what you find to be a top priority.